Guys, today in the lab we're going to be playing a cooperative deck building game called Shadowrun Crossfire by Catalyst Game Labs. Let me just start out by saying that this is a brutally difficult game. It is relentlessly hard right off the bat. I'm playing what they classify as a normal difficulty mission for this playthrough, and it is brutal to say the least. So this is basically a deck builder that is a pseudo, I guess you could say, RPG where you gain what they call karma, which I guess you could say is like XP for every successful or aborted mission. I think you get more karma for successfully completed runs versus aborted runs, where you can actually end your run early if one of your characters gets critically injured. What I'm going to do is play a 2-player game, not the recommended 4, because I don't think I can manage 4 different characters and 4 different decks. It's just a bit overwhelming. So I'm going to do what the manual says and go with 2 characters, but you have to assign 2 different roles to each character, one being their primary role, one being their secondary role. So I went with the troll as my primary player, player 1, and he is a street samurai with a secondary decker role. So I place those cards underneath. The starting deck you use will consist of only one of the role decks. So he does have the street samurai role, which is more heavily weighted towards the gun attack, which is for that class. The second player will be a human character. She is playing as a mage as her main class, and the face role is is her secondary, and the secondary roles are essentially for assigning certain events and effects throughout the game. And her deck is more stacked towards magic attacks, which is blue. But that's pretty much it. So how the game is set up is you've got your starter decks, you've got obstacles that we're going to have to face, you've got a Crossfire event deck that's going to come into play at some point in this mission, and we also have a black market where we can actually purchase cards which are spells, weapons, items, and such to help us out throughout this game. The characters start with varying health and hand sizes, as well as money. In this game they call it new yen. So the troll character starts with a 7 max health. The human starts with 5. The troll starts with a starting hand size of 3 versus the human's 4, and he starts with 2 new yen, and the human starts with 3. Obviously, I didn't overlook this, but they each have an additional new yen to start with, which I provided them because of the secondary roles that they've played, and it's just a little bit easier to get started with this 2-player setup, because like I said, this game is brutally hard. So the mission that I've chose to do for this playthrough is called Crossfire, and the job, apparently getting in was easy, just like Mr. Johnson promised, but you've got heavy company on the way out. So we're clearly going to run into some heavy obstacles on the way out of this place. So the mission goal is for our team to face off against obstacles in 3 separate scenes. Each scene is going to end once we've defeated all of the obstacles facing our runners. To give you a little bit background of the theme, this is based in the Shadowrun universe, which is, I guess, a standalone RPG. There's a number of video games that were put out in the Shadowrun universe. Essentially, it's a futuristic mega corporation hacker slasher RPG-ish type setting where corporations run the world, mixed with fantasy, because there's trolls, there's elves, there's dwarves, and all sorts of mythical races like you would see in any of your fantasy type games. So it's a combination of two, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think it's definitely a cool theme. So we'll see how this plays out. Again, this is a 3-scene mission, and we've got to get through all 3 scenes in order to win it, which is going to be extremely tough, which you will see. And the way the game is broken down is turns and rounds. So we start with the player turns. They each take a turn, and then at the end of the second player's turn, that ends the round. And then we rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And during our turns, we'll get to play cards. We're going to assign damage to our obstacles and try to get through them as quickly as possible. We're going to get damage dealt to us from those obstacles. And then we're going to have to deal with some crossfire events as they show up. So I'll explain more about how the mechanics work as far as combat and all that goes. But I guess at this point we should just get right to it. So I'll start by setting up the black market. And now the black market is where you can buy all of your weapons and items and stuff from, and it's going to be 2 rows of 3 cards. So there's always going to be 6 cards out in the black market that are available for purchase. The first spell we have is Lightning Bolt, so it's something that I think we're going to want to get in our mage. Second one is the Black Market Contacts. It's a good card. It gets us allows us to buy during our turn, not on our actual buy phase, to get a card from the black market right into our hand. We get the Dock Wagon Contract. This is a critical card. We're definitely going to want to see this one because this is going to let us heal, and hit points in this game are at a premium because you just take an unreasonable amount of damage and you don't have much health. Coordinated Attack, another good card that we're going to have to look to buy. Fireball, so there's some pretty good cards out here. No weapons yet though, and Jacked In, so this is more of a techie hacker type card. So each card that comes out is going to have a purchase cost. So this is how much new yen it's going to cost us to buy, and how much attack it's going to do, and any additional effects or abilities that it's going to provide our runners when they play these cards. So that's our starting black market, and this is going to refill as we buy cards as we play through. And I think that's it. So now we just need to assign obstacles now. So based on this mission, for scene 1, the number of obstacles we are going to face is equal to the number of runners. And we're only going to start by drawing from the easier of the 2 obstacle decks. And the easiest way to tell them apart is one has 1 bullet hole, the other has 2. So we will be drawing from the hard deck at some point very soon, unfortunately. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And as for Crossfire events, that's the card you would normally draw at the beginning of every turn, and it's going to start to ramp up difficulty because each of those cards has a number of effects on it, some ongoing, some when you draw them, and you'll see those as we start to play. But for the purposes of this mission, there is a little note at the bottom that if you're playing with only 2 runners, we do not flip a Crossfire card until round 3. So it's giving us 2 rounds to settle in before we have to deal with more pain. And it's very nice of the developers to do that, because even with that, you could take Crossfire events out of this game entirely for this scenario and it would still be hard. So, but let's see how this plays out then. So we'll get started with the obstacles and then jump into the troll's turn. Okay, so the way we start the scene with the first obstacle is we draw the first card, and depending on the color of the card is going to determine which role this is going to play against. And since it's blue and the mage is blue, that's where this goes. So the runner with the mage role is going to be facing the Corporate Adept, and this has an ongoing effect of you can't be healed or heal any runner. I guess it's good that this is up early because we don't have to worry about healing yet. It does 1 damage, so every turn it's going to deal this damage to whichever runner it's facing on that runner's turn. If we kill him, he's worth 4 new yen reward, and that gets split between the two runners. Each obstacle has a number of levels, they call it, and you have to fight through the obstacles in order of those levels from left to right. So the first attack we can do to him has to be this blue lightning bolt, which is a mage attack or a magic attack. Now, the Street Samurai does have a magic attack card, and the generic card is called Mana, but he only has one in his deck, so it's going to be a lot tougher for him to fight this guy. Anytime you see a symbol like this 3 with a gray circle around it, it's generic, so any type of attack, 3 attack cards can satisfy that one. So this isn't too tough of a card, so that's actually kind of a good draw. And now the second one we draw, regardless of what color it is, will go to the other player. And it is a customs officer. Some of these cards, as you saw with the Corporate Adept, has ongoings. Other cards have reveal effects, so when you flip them, they immediately take action. This one has a defeated effect, so once we defeat him, we choose another runner, and that runner draws 1 card, so that's actually a beneficial effect. He also does 1 damage. He's worth 5 new yen, and he has 3 levels of attacks we need to do. So a 3 generic, 1 face attack, and 2 more generic, and that'll finish him off. And 1 damage isn't bad. So there's a couple of 2 damages buried in there, and those things whittle you down pretty quickly. So the turn order is going to start with the Street Samurai. So he's going to draw up to his 3 hand limit right from his deck, and then he will start his turn. So his turn has a number of sequences, and it starts with him playing cards. So he's allowed to play, any cards from his hand in any order to any of the obstacles, whether it be in front of him or in front of any of the other players. So he could actually do this, and I think I'm going to do that because he's got more health. So I'm going to try to help her out a little bit, and then she can try to help him take this customs officer down. So he's going to start by playing one of these, his blue mana card against this Corporate Adept, and that's going to do, that'll be able to take out the first level, and then all I need to do is 3 more. Now he's only got 2 cards left to play, and both of these cards, the only level attack I can do is a 3 generic, but I can only do 2 generic damage. Any damage that's unfilled, so if that level 1, I applied 2 damage to that 3 generic, at the end of his turn, that damage goes away, it doesn't carry over. So you don't want to, you really shouldn't attack anything unless you can finish it, right? So he has the option to not spend these cards as well. So he can hold on to those 2, and then he's going to get to draw those at the end of his turn, draw more cards up. And the way drawing works is if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, you get to draw 2. If you have 4 or more, you only get to draw 1. So he's going to get to draw 2 cards, and he'll get to start his next turn with 4 cards, which is much better. Well, maybe 5 if you buy something. So what he's going to do now is he applied his 1 mana card to this Corporate Adept. So now we do the apply damage. So we're going to apply this damage, and the way you track that is by these triangle damage tokens. And I'm going to put that over the first level of this card to show that I've killed that. And then I can discard this. So I'll go into his discard pile. And then all I only have to deal is just 3 more damage, and it takes care of him. Alright, so that's the apply damage. Now you go into the take damage phase, where any obstacles facing the runner whose turn it is will take damage, in the amount of the attack strength, the combat strength on this card. So it's 1, as we saw before. So he's going to actually take 1 point of damage, so he's going to go down to 6 health. And that ends that. So now we go into the draw and buy phase, where he gets to draw 2 cards. So he'll draw 2 cards off of his pile, and then he can spend his new yen on any of the cards in the black market. So he's got 3 new yen. He can buy either of these 2 cards. Now, something to keep in mind that's different than most other deck builders is where you buy a card, it goes in your discard pile, and you move on. In this game, when you buy a card from the black market at the end of your turn, it goes into your hand, so you can actually play that first thing next turn. I think I might want to get this jacked in card for 3 new yen. Now, black market contacts is good because it allows you to buy a card in the black market and put it right in your hand during your play cards turn. But I won't have any new yen. I'll have 1 new yen left, and there's nothing out here for 1. So he's going to buy this, put it right into his hand. It's going to cost him 3, so that's all his money. And we'll get some more once we start killing these obstacles. But you immediately replenish the black market. So now we're back up to 6 again. So that is the end of his turn. So the troll is done. Now you go on to the next player's turn. So the next player happens to be our human mage. So she is going to start, we'll draw up her 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is her starting hand. Now, if I don't kill him this turn, he's going to do damage to me. If I do kill him, I'm gonna get out of this turn without taking any damage. And I know I just need 3 generic damage for this guy. So I think I'm gonna just throw 3 down. I'm gonna hold on to my Street Smarts, the face damage card, because that's the only one, outside of generics that can be used on this customs officer. So I think I'm gonna hold on to this one. And I'm only going to play these 3. So now we apply damage. I'll apply these 3 to our Corporate Adept, and he will die. So he's going to be worth 4 new yen. So the way you pay out new yen is you start paying 1 at a time to the player who killed the obstacle. So she gets 1, and he gets 1, she gets 1, he gets 1. For odd numbers of new yen, it's pretty simple. I could have just gone 2 and 2, but say it was like 5 new yen, so then I'd start with her with 1, and then she would end up getting the 3 versus the 2. That's the way they tell you to do it, so it makes sense to me. So we're halfway through scene 1, because to finish scene 1, we just have to clear these obstacles out, right? So she applied damage. Now she would take damage, but she's not facing any obstacles, so she doesn't take any damage. So now she draws 2 cards. 1, 2, and then she gets to spend her money. And she's immediately going to buy, I think, now see, there's coordinated attack, which isn't bad. So choose another runner. That runner draws 1 card and then immediately plays a card. That's a pretty good card. So that allows her to let the troll play a card on her turn, and it also does one face damage plus 1 generic. So that's a 2 damage card. That's actually not bad at all. Or do I want to take a magic card? But no, I don't have, wow, that's 9 new yen, man. I ain't buying that. The Dock Contract. This allows you to heal 2 hit points. That's actually not a bad card because it has assist ability. So I could technically use this to assist the troll, which would heal him 1 and also give him 1 face damage. So that could help him because he actually took damage the last turn. So I think I'm gonna buy the Dock card because it just makes sense. So that's 5 new yen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she had 6, huh? I could have got. See, I could have. What did I play? Yeah, I could have actually bought Lightning Bolt. I didn't even think about that. I forgot she was a mage. You can buy this. It says right here, you can't buy this card from the black market unless you played a spell card. And she did. She played a mana card when she killed that. And then this thing does damage. Deal 2 consecutive levels of damage to an obstacle. You know what? I think I'm going to leave that out there. We'll get that if we need it badly enough later. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't realize she had 6 new yen. So I'm going to take this 6 new yen, and I'm actually going to buy the Lightning Bolt instead. And that's going to go right in her hand, and she's going to lay down the business when she can next turn. So we draw, a Katana. All right, that's probably something we want to get in the hands of our troll. So she did her purchase. Her turn's over. So that was the end of round 1. Okay, so now we're moving into round 2. We still don't need to do a crossfire. Our troll gets to start up, and I think we have this under control right now. pretty well. So he's got this jacked in card, right? It says, during this turn, when you play cards, you can discard a card and return jacked in from your discard to your hand. When this card is played, it isn't placed in the discard until after damage is applied. So I can actually discard a card and pull this right back into my hand, and I kind of like that. So I'm going to play that. That's worth 2, so it's worth 1 green and 1 generic attack. And I only need 3 generics, right? So that's 1, 2, 3. That gets me past the first level. I'm going to use her. No, I can't. See, God, if I would have bought that dock wagon, man, I could have done wonders. Could have done wonders. Does she even have a face card? Yeah, she does. All right, so she can. All right, she can take care of business next time. I'm not worried about her. I think she's good. Let me just do this. I'll take another one on the chin. With our troll here. So he's going to play these 2. That's a total of 3 damage. And again, if I discard during your turn, when you could play cards, you can discard a card to return jacked in from your discard. So I can actually, when a card is played, it isn't placed in the discard pile to have damage applied. Right. So I'm gonna have to. So I can pull him in next turn, not right now, but I'll play him because I can. So that's 3 damage. I'm going to apply that now. I'm not going to play these other 3 cards. I'm going to leave them here. I am going to apply them. That's going to knock out the first level of this customs officer. Right? I'm going to put them in the discard pile. I'm going to leave jacked in on top so that I know what's out there. So next turn, I can discard a card and take that right back. I like that. So that's his attack. Now he takes damage. So he's going to take 1 more damage from this customs officer. He's got a good amount of health, so that's not too bad. And now he's going to draw 2 cards. He only has 2 new yen, so what does he want to buy? Can he buy anything? Should he buy anything? Should he buy this icon grab? This thing does damage. If you play another hacking card anytime this turn, icon grab also does any damage you want. That's not a bad card. I think I'm going to buy that too. That's worth 2 new yen. That's cheap. Deal. I think we need to stack our deck. Look at that. They just want us to heal hit points. Alright, so he did his purchase, he did his deal, he's got his hand, he's got his discard, his turn's over, he took his damage, he's fine. Alright, so now we move on to our mage. What is she gonna do? I think she's gonna end it. So we're gonna use lightning bolt. And this thing deals 2 consecutive levels of damage to an obstacle. He's only got two levels of damage left on him. So I think we're gonna deal that now. So she's gonna apply it to the obstacle. And now I apply damage. She's gonna do 2 levels of damage. So boom, boom, regardless of the cost, he goes right through him. Just eats him up. So she cleared house on that. He's worth 5 new yen. This goes in my discard, and I take. This is where the allocation, works out. So she's going to go 1, 1, 2, 2, and then she gets 3. So that's how we end that. So she only had to play 1 card. She's got 3 cards, so she's still able to draw 2 more. So now it is her. She didn't have to take damage. So we're going to finish out her turn, and then I'll show you how the round's going to end. She didn't have to take damage because there's no more obstacles. The rounds end when all obstacles are killed, but I'm going to finish out her turn. So she still gets to draw 2 cards. She can only draw 1, so I got to shuffle. Alright, so she will draw a card. And she gets to spend money. I only have 3, so I'm not going to spend it yet because I really want to get one of these 5 cost cards. So I'm gonna hold off and not spend any money, and I'm gonna end her turn. Now at the end of the round, each player, there's a whole end of round phase, and it tells you right on the card. So at the end of the turn, if there are no obstacles in play, each runner heals 1 hit point, and the starting runner removes the Crossfire event from play. We haven't hit round 3 yet, so we didn't even have a Crossfire event in play. which is a good way to get them buried as opposed to in the discard pile. Because once Crossfire cards go in the discard pile, those are all those increase your levels of Crossfire. Then so we each get to heal 1. She's at max health. He goes back up to 6. So we're in really good shape right now. Then starting with the runner, to the left of the runner who defeated the last obstacle, so by default it's going to be him. Each runner in order can buy 1 card from the black market. So he has a choice now to spend 2 new yen to buy a card from the black market. I think I want that sword, so I'm going to wait. I could spend his 2 now and buy black market contacts, but again, that card lets you buy cards, and if I don't have enough money, I can't buy anything. So he's going to pass. She's going to pass. And then for the next scene, the runner who had the first choice to buy a card starts the round. So since she ended the round, he's going to start the next round. If he had ended it, she would have actually started off round 2, but she's not going to because she ended it. So thus ends round 1, and I think that was a very, very good round. I've had much worse. So that's Shadowrun Crossfire round 1. Not round 1, scene 1. We've got 2 more scenes to get through, and it's only going to get harder. So hope you enjoyed the first part, and I will pick it up on the next video. So thanks for watching.